stop if you wanna be on top, yeah. Low waist, fat, baby, tap in. Tap, tap, tap in. Diamonds dancing on your neck, better tap in. Tap, tap, tap in. Get money, get rich, baby, tap in. Tap, tap, tap in. Yes. All right. Yes. For Sweetie, introducing today's episode of Day to Day with Dorothy. Ew. I'm your host, shoulder roll, Dorothy Enriquez. Here we are, ready to make some magic. DJ Dee on the ones and twos. Look, I love some Sweetie. I really enjoy. It speaks to me and into my spirit as I get ready to do this. So, if this is your first time tuning in, allow me to introduce myself before we jump into some chitter chat. I'm Dorothy Enriquez, the principal and founder of The Communication Strategist, a boutique learning and leadership development firm where I help you lead from every seat you sit in. Yes, yes. So here we are. We're going to jump in today's topic. Actually, since we're here, let me go ahead and put it on the gram. Today's topic is really around communication. Know your audience. Let me tell you something. In the back half of my career, this was honestly the best advice. I mean, and not like I got some really, really good advice as I was, planning my grand exit. But this advice of know your audience honestly was a game changer. You would think that everybody knows their audience at work and that they know who they're talking to and who they're dealing with and how to adapt and adjust and be a chameleon in the workplace. But what I have learned over the years when it comes to myself, my journey, and watching other people don't know that. They don't know that. They don't. Because if they did, they would adjust accordingly, but they don't because I don't think that they know. And there's probably a small percentage of folks who don't care, but I think for majority, they don't know. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I got a request in the inner circle, Lashes and Leadership. Thanks, girls. To talk a little bit more about communication. So probably for the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing some deep diving into communication because it's, oh my God, listen, did you know that according to the Harvard Business Review, that's one of the top skills that people are rated on when it comes to promotion, their ability to communicate and communicate effectively. So that's what we're going to be jumping into today. A little bit of chitter chat while we wait for peeps to join. Hello, Amber the Activator. Shoulder roll. Yes, listen. So look, I flat ironed my hair for y'all today because I got rained on yesterday, and so I was looking a little fluffy and a little frizzy. And let me tell you something, it's too hot to be flat ironing, right? And so I go for more of like the blowout look because it's too hot to be flat ironing. Hi, Tony. Thanks for joining. Shoulder roll. Today we're going to be talking about knowing your audience, basically communication at work. But we're just having a little chitter chat while we wait for peeps to join in. So listen, y'all know, okay? Y'all know I be out here with these magnetic lashes. And you would think that this would solve my challenge because with eyelash glue and everything like that, it's always an eyelash debacle. Every time there is a whole entire situation, so dramatic. So I've switched to the magnetic lashes. You would think it would solve all my issues. It has not. Okay? I think I just need to grow a double set of lashes coming out of my eyeballs to alleviate my pain. All of that to say, if on this live you see these lashes betraying me, send me a note and be like, sis, the lashes are doing the crip walk. Because, and I say this lovingly, because there were some pictures that I took mid-quarantine where the lashes were crip walking and no one said anything to me. Y'all, you're supposed to have my back. Oh my goodness. Hi, Yarn for Life. Shoulder roll. Hi, Outspoken Wifey. And let's see, Amber the Activator says, that's why my hair is in braids. This rain in ATL ain't no joke. I heard y'all were just getting stormed out over there. It's been raining everywhere. Yesterday, it was raining so hard. The thunderstorms were so crazy, and I'm a Cali girl by way of the Caribbean. I don't do thunderstorms. Look, my baby be like, I'm scared. And I'd be like, girl, what you want me to do? As we shake on the couch together. I'm scared too. I don't know what to do in a damn thunderstorm. I just be like, ah, like it rap tap taps on your door. Okay? Like Edgar Allan Poe. So anyway, I'm not prepared for this Midwest weather at all. Outspoken wifey's laughing at me. Listen, I'm just not equipped. I'm not built for it. No, I'm not. So my hair got wet, and so I flat ironed it so that I wouldn't be a total frizzball for y'all. But it's too hot to be flat ironing, so I'm flat ironing and sweating. And then as I'm doing my makeup, I'm sweating. So I put on some, I don't know, whatever it is, the stuff that's supposed to make you not look like you're sweating. Listen, I do it for the gram and for FB. I do it for y'all because really, the last couple of days, I've been looking a little crazy. You all held me accountable during quarantine because I had to comb my hair, I had to get dressed, put on pants, and, rally the entire situation. And since I am off the hook, you get what you get every other day except Wednesday. So here we are getting ready to talk about our topic, know your audience. So I have a couple points that I want to touch on. This was per the request of one of the TCS fans. I just love her. It's one of the things that she said she's been working on in 2020, and it's a focus for the back half. And here's what's true, right? When it comes to communication, it's a skill that we're always perfecting and enhancing. If you know me, or if you've known me for any bit of time, you know I have a master's degree in communication. So I focused in interpersonal because I wanted to have that personal side going, and organizational communication. How are people communicating? The things that they say, the things that they write in these intercultural groups, within the context of business, outside of business, platonic, intimate relationships. How are the things that we are saying and doing really pulling the relationship apart or pushing it together? And so I want to talk about this idea, this concept of knowing your audience at work, and what that really means and where that advice came from, and just some things for us to think about. What you can do, though, in the meantime, FB, camera one, Instagram, camera two, go ahead and share this video with a friend, right? And then y'all can watch together and hold each other accountable. Yeah, shoulder roll. So if you don't know me, you're just now tuning in, Dorothy Enriquez here. This is Day to Day with Dorothy. It is a weekly show that happens every week on Wednesday at some point in the day. Typically between 3:30-ish and 4-ish, somewhere around there, as long as I can get my poop in a group. Right? So this boutique learning and leadership development firm that I've been running for the past 2 years, well, technically I started in 2016, but I've been full-time for 2 years. My anniversary is tomorrow. We really help you lead from every seat you sit in. I work with organizations, so small businesses, corporations, nonprofits, and I work with individuals just like yourself, corporate hustlers who are out here ready to accelerate, create like that momentum, that velocity that we're looking for in our careers so that we can kill it at work, right, without killing ourselves in the process. So today we're going to focus on communications, communicating. Ooh, congratulations. I'm transitioning out of corporate now. Yes. Welcome to the dark side. Let me tell you something. If you haven't started it already, allocating a little bit of time to do that mindset work, because what a lot of us don't realize when you go from, side hustling to full time, corporate has traumatized you just a bit or a lot. Like for me, it was a lot. But, there's a little bit of trauma there that you have to untangle, undo, and pull out so that you can show up for this business just all the way, just neon and jewel tone purple, so that you could really be your brightest, most HD Blu-ray self. because I don't think that we always realize the number that corporate does on us, especially when we're making that transition. It is just a complete mindset shift. But congratulations. Oh, yes, I'm here for this. All right. So, FB, I cannot see you. I can see that people are on. I just can't see who. So, if you want to say hi. I'd love to know who's on here. All right. So, knowing your audience at work. One of the best pieces of advice that I ever got, because what I found that I was doing and what I see a lot of other people do is they communicate the same exact way no matter who they're talking to. And communication is a skill. And what I don't want us to do is confuse talking and communication, right? So for the most part, right, we're all going to be talking at work. We have to. We can't get out of it. We have to talk in order to get our jobs done. But when we're communicating, it's this idea of sending the messages back and forth and making sure that people are receiving the message the way that we intended it, so that there can be this symbiotic relationship between the sender and the receiver, right? Just because we're talking doesn't mean that we're communicating effectively. And one of the things that's really important at work, if we want to excel, is to make sure that we are communicating effectively in a way that resonates with our audience. As you've probably discovered in your career, as you switch from department to department, company to company, industry to industry, the way they communicate is different. And every company has their own language. And our goal is to figure out how can we infuse ourselves into this culture as a culture add, but also how can we assimilate into the culture or adapt into the culture so that we can survive, right? And a lot of this is pulled into the system through this communication deal, right? So, who do we have here? Ishitak? I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but hi, welcome to the show. We are talking about knowing your audience. So, for me, like I said, and hi Becky. Oh, hey girl, shoulder roll. So here's what I was doing. The mistake that I was making is that essentially I was communicating the same way with everyone. Now, would I bevel the edges a touch? Sure. The way that I talk to you all might not be how I would talk to my boss, but for the most part, I was not making the necessary adjustments, especially early in my career, because I didn't know. And perhaps there was some aspect of it that was all in the name of authenticity, which that's important. And we've talked about before, and this spirit of congruence, all of that is important. But at the core of what we do, we have to look at what's the goal? What are we trying to do? What is it that we want? What do we want to get? And then how do we adjust what's happening here, what's happening here, and what's happening here to make sure that we get it? That is knowing your audience. If I know that I work in an organization that is supposed to be really casual, like super casual 95% of the time, and I want to go dressed like this, here's the deal. In the spirit of being congruent and authentic, I have to be prepared for the consequences, right? Because now I'm demonstrating that I'm operating outside of the cultural norm and the cultural values, right? So I need to be prepared for whatever that means in the context of that organization, because I know my audience and I'm refusing to adjust. And I'm communicating that I am not part of you. I am not one of you, right? And so therein lies the journey. We are making all of these decisions as leaders, and we've got to figure out what makes sense based on what we want. And there have been organizations where I've tried to conform and like really mute it, and it honestly just killed me inside. And so I had to make sure that I found happy mediums where I felt like, okay, I'm still me, and it's not turned all the way up, but I still feel like I'm representing Dorothy in a way that doesn't make me feel like I'm shutting down my spirit a little bit each day that I go to this job. All right, so One thing that I want you to consider, right, whenever you are asking yourself this question, who's my audience? Do I know my audience? And this is in all aspects, right? When you're sending an email, when you're showing up in a meeting, when you're meeting with a boss, when you're meeting with the boss's boss, or when you are in a room with your boss's peers or executive level team members. Asking yourself, like, do I know this person? Do I know these people that I'm meeting with? And what are their personalities like? Right? When you are at work, sis, listen, you are an anthropologist. It is your job to basically act like you are at the zoo or in the Hunger Games or on another planet. And you're there to gather information. You want to watch everybody so that you can figure out who you're dealing with. Okay, so I see Tom. What I notice about Tom, he's early to every meeting. He's not just on time, he's early. And I also notice that he is restless when the meeting is going over even by 2 minutes. I also notice that whenever we have like too much chit chat at the beginning, how was your weekend? How's the baby? What do you have coming up for the summer? Whenever there's a lot of chit chat, I notice that he always tries to bring us back to the topic, right? Whenever we are steering away and we're looking at all the big picture possibilities, I notice that he steers us back to the agenda and he steers us back to who's going to be impacted. I notice this about Tom. Whenever I'm interacting with Tom, I need to be conscientious. I cannot be late, especially even if Tom is a peer, right? We can't be late. But if Tom is, above us by a level or two or three, we absolutely know we need to be on time, right? We know Tom doesn't want a lot of small talk, so I don't have to do all this small talk engaging because I've been watching Tom. I've been studying Tom. I am starting to see how Tom operates, right? And I'm starting to see these traits, these aspects of his personality that while they may not match my personality, I can make these small tweaks and adjustments. Every time that I see Susie, I notice that Susie is always asking about my daughter. Always. She could be frazzled and busy and need things from me, but she wants to know how she's doing. Is she hitting her milestones? She also is always curious about where do I get my content, right? So you're talking about know your audience. Who says who? Have you done any research on this? What's your background on this? What's your experience in this space? Okay, so I know two things about Susie. I know that Susie is oriented towards people because she is not just curious about me. She wants to get to know me. But she also wants, when we're working together, that I can support what I'm saying with facts. Have I done my homework? Did I do my research? If I'm saying X, what is it based on? Is it based on just because I said so? Is it based on me knowing, based on this book, based on this body of research, based on these studies? Where am I getting my information from? Right? So that she knows that this partnership or these meetings are going to be worth the time that it's going to expend and take from her schedule. Okay, so now I know Susie and Tom are two very different people. They don't operate the same way. And while parts of them may resonate with how I operate, I know I need to adjust. And with Susie, I gotta have my facts straight. I cannot just say things like, I think I read this somewhere, or I'm sure it's in there somewhere. You just need to read the book. That's not gonna work, right? Susie is not gonna feel like I'm connecting with her and plugging in with her. Now, Susie may be late to meetings. Susie may be okay with meetings going over, but we know that Tom's not okay with it. When it comes to us communicating with people at work, know your audience. Study your peers. Study your boss. Study their peers so that you can start to see at this organization that I've been at the last 6 months or the last 6 years. This is how people talk. This is how people move. Think about a meeting that you went into where someone had a great idea and you thought to yourself like, oh my goodness, that's brilliant. And no one received it, right? They're not hearing the idea because this individual doesn't know his or her audience. The way they've positioned it, they're not being thoughtful of who's in the room. Doesn't mean that it's not a good idea, But in order to lead, you have to be heard. And in order to be heard, you have to know your audience, which means you have to adjust it and tweak it. And then sometimes someone will come right after them, reposition it, and now it is heard by the team. And then, of course, we're all in uproar. Like, that was my idea. You stole it, which is not a good way to handle it, by the way. Know your audience. People are always watching, and they always want to see what you're going to do. But study how they positioned it. Yeah, they may have stolen your idea. You can circle back around the bend and clean that up. But look at how they positioned it and be thoughtful in how you lift up your idea the next time to make sure that you get heard. A lot of times, what I've seen from myself in those corporate settings and what I've seen from other people, they did not consider the audience at all. They just put it together and it was like, bleh. There wasn't a ton of thought there. And that's why the people on the receiving end of the message had a hard time swallowing it, right? Because we're not thinking of our audience. Hi, Fierce Unapologetically. Hi, Kermias. And shoulder rolls, shoulder rolls. So today we're talking about knowing your audience, especially at work in a corporate setting. And we talked about studying them, being an anthropologist at work, even if you've been there for a while. If you feel like sometimes people aren't hearing you, sometimes people are dismissing you, maybe sometimes you feel like folks aren't taking you seriously, or you're getting feedback, vague feedback no less, you need to communicate better. You are over talking. People aren't receiving your messages very well. You're not very clear. Your emails are too vague. All of this tells me that you need to figure out your audience. And so we were using our fictitious characters of Tom and Susie and describing their personalities a little bit and how we need to adapt. But you need to do that, especially with people and key relationships that are critical to your acceleration, critical to your ability to rise. Because we want people to be saying our name in those rooms that we're not in yet. Hi, Ashley. And on shoulder roll. Welcome, welcome. So when we're adapting, adjusting, and becoming chameleons at work, because that's really what we have to do. When we're becoming this chameleon, we are literally looking at the folks that we have to communicate on a day-to-day basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, and we're asking ourselves one key question. What is driving them? What's driving this person? Because we've all got that person at work who drives us crazy. And a lot of times it's because we just don't have the same personality, right? I want to ask you about your weekend, and you don't want to tell me anything. You just want to get straight to business. You're not going to say good morning. You're not going to ask me how I'm doing. I clearly look ill. You don't care. You just want to get straight to it. But again, if I'm the one who wants to accelerate, I'm the one who wants to move this forward, I need to know my audience, right? And it's, of course, our natural response to say, but what about Tom? Tom needs to adjust too. He does. But I'm not Tom. You're not Tom. We've got to let it go. Good points will be super important when offices open back up in the midst of current world climate. Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for that, Fierce Unapologetically. So look, we're not Tom, we're not Susie, and we can't worry about what Tom and Susie are doing. Think about what your mother said. Like, I don't care what your friends are doing. I only care what you're doing, right? And this is your career. This is your leadership journey. This is your path. What are you doing to know your audience? What's driving Tom? Is Tom a thorn in your side because you never give him enough information? Stop it. Stop not giving him enough information. Over communicate, why don't you? Right? Because he wants more information from you. Give it to him. Let it get to a point where he's like, yo, I don't need to be in the loop this much, but thank you. Allow him to tell you that it's too much versus you not giving him enough. With Susie, why does she continue to disconnect from me? Why does she not want to help me? Is it because I don't want to give her some information about like how my baby's doing, right? Like, I just want to skip over all that because I don't care about the niceties. I don't like small talk. I don't feel like Susie and I relate that much, so I don't even want to talk about it. But Susie has a baby the same age as mine, right? Let's find this connection point because What we know to be true is that Susie wants to connect, right? And it's human nature to connect. We're not made to do this alone. Human nature, we want to connect. Susie's trying to connect, and every time I deny her, I wonder why Susie and I have a strained relationship. And it's even more problematic if there's a power difference between Susie and Susie is the one in the position of power. We have to know our audience if we're going to communicate effectively. Emails are also clues to their style of working. Yes, how can we get to know them by reading emails from them? Ah, no, this is good. And then we'll get ready to close out. So, what you can do, oh my God, so good. Look at how people are emailing you. So, people who tend to be a little bit more social, right, or a little bit more relational, they want to deal with people, they'll say things like, "Hi, Dorothy, how are you? Hope you're safe. Hope you're sane. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you had a fun time. I remember you said you were getting ready to go on vacation. So, I really need your help with XYZ. This is what I need, da 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 da." People also, what you'll notice in that same type of email, when they like to talk, their emails are longer because they've got more words, more sentences, and it's building rapport and interaction, right? And in real life, this is how they move. This is how they operate. Now, somebody else. So let's think about an email that Tom might send, our fictitious character, always on time for the meeting. He's early, right? And then he wants to leave right on the dot. He may send an email like, "Hello." He might not even say your name, but maybe he'll say, but it just feels formal. "Hello, Dorothy. This email is pertaining to the project around Boys and Girls Club. We need to identify the next two cohorts and what's necessary. Number one, I need you to let me know how many participants are allowed in each class. Number two, I need you to give me the cost based on the fact that this is going to be virtual. Number three, I need this information by the end of the week because I have to give a report out to my boss. I appreciate your swift response." But that's how Tom is in the meeting too. I'm already knowing Tom is a bit more structured and he wants the information. And if y'all know me, you know I'm like I got my notes, right? But I'm like, "Oh yeah, but this, oh but that." And you can see that in my emails when we're just, passing information back and forth. We see that Tom is not doing that. When we respond to Tom, we can respond to Tom in one of two ways. One, we can put our responses directly underneath his so that he can see it. Two, we can then number our responses so that our response correlates with the question. Based on question one, the answer is this. Keep it short. Based on question two, here's your answer. Based on question three, here's your answer. I look forward to partnering with you. None of the niceties, none of that is necessary. He's giving you the information that you need. So here's what I'll say. I hope that was helpful. Hi, Dallas Organizer. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to learn, yes, first timer, as we get ready to wrap up too. If you want to see this in action, I have an assessment that I do. And it is a psychometric analysis, so you cannot trick the test. It is through my certification called Emergenetics, right? So this allows you to see your thinking preferences come to life, and this allows you to see your behavioral attributes. It gives you insight into you. But as you learn you, and then you go back to work virtually or in person, and you're being this anthropologist, you can start to see a little bit in your peers so that you can figure out, well, how do I flex? And what's kind of nice is when you can see your personality laid out on paper, it helps you to give other people almost like this mini owner's manual. Well, this is how I think. These are my preferences. This is how I operate. And then when you see me do this in the meeting or do that at the event, these are my behavioral attributes coming to life. So if you're curious or you want to bring it into your organization, it is called Emergenetics, and we can make that happen. So I hope this was helpful. We will continue to talk about communication over the next couple of weeks because it's so, look, I told you I got a whole degree in it. It's so in-depth. But the point of this one is absolutely, I will save it for sure. The point of this one is to know your audience. You can, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can't communicate with everyone the same way and assume that everyone communicates just like you. They so don't. And our whole goal is to lead from every seat we sit in and accelerate our ascent, right? So we got to make sure that we adapt and adjust as we switch from department to department, company to company, industry to industry. Having said that, speaking of accelerating your ascent, listen, y'all, I'm doing a leadership challenge and it's free. I want you to join. It is the Accelerate Your Ascent 5-day leadership challenge. And it's free. I am going to be giving away some of my best content. And here is what's true. The reason why you attend this challenge now is because after the challenge, it's going to be bundled up and it's going to be a paid course. So attend the challenge, get the content for free. You're going to love it. 5 days of diving into leadership so that we can get what we need to accelerate our ascent, put this leadership thing on the fast track so that we can get to where we're going at work and beyond, so that we can communicate more powerfully, have more clarity, have more focus, get that mission, vision, and values all the way tight, figure out how we're going to own our story, get that confidence, that self-efficacy to be like, yes, I need to negotiate. Yes, I need a raise. Yes, there needs to be equity at work. But we can be authentic and congruent while we do it. And then as we set those goal-getter goals to close the year strong, we feel centered. Oh my goodness, do you know how many times throughout my career I literally would be like, what am I doing? What is my life about? Why am I here? You know why? Because I wasn't clear. I needed this challenge. It just didn't exist, which is why I'm creating it. Sometimes people are like, I know I need to do something. I just don't know what I need to do. I know I need to do something at work because it's not working for me. I'm killing myself or I'm burnt out. I don't know what I need to do. This challenge helps you rewind just a little bit so that you can like take off. Let me tell you something. I wrote a mission in my early 20s, but taking the time in my early 30s to revisit, hone, tighten that all the way up. You know when things are so tight, you need to like put on a dish glove to loosen it. Having it tight like that, having the mission and vision tight like that, having striking clarity on your values so that you don't have to keep making decisions over and over again, y'all, game changer. I'm giving it away for free, right? We're going to be doing nightly trainings because I want everybody to be able to participate. And listen, I would do it at 7 a.m., but then I'd be like, because I'm not a morning person. So we're going to do it at night. 7 p.m. Central every night. The trainings will be about 20 minutes, max 30. And we're just going to dive in and do this challenge and get y'all set up because it's almost review time. Listen, let me tell you something. I want that merit increase. Oh, yes, I do. I want a good performance review because I'm a millennial. So you're not going to give me like C's and be like, oh, but this is a good score, Dorothy. Don't get stuck on it. No, none of that. I want a really good review. I want the bonus and I want the merit increase. Let's get this leadership thing together. Let's make sure that the foundation is solid. Visit bit.ly/accelerate your ascent. If you're on Facebook, go to the About section, click on the link, and then you can go that way. If you're on Instagram, go in the bio, click on the link, and sign up for the challenge. It's free. It starts next week, Monday, and it ends on Friday. And after Friday, all the replays come down. I'm going to package it up, and then I'm going to sell it. So go ahead and sign up for the challenge. I cannot wait to see you there. Bring a gal pal so that you guys can hold each other accountable. And I will see you back here between 3:30 and 4-ish, right? So that we can have another episode of Day to Day with Dorothy. Please share this episode with a friend if there were some nuggets and gems in here that you found valuable. But before you do, let me pose for you because I can't have you out here like, watch this video. Yes. Hey now. Plus, that'll give me something to put when I post it, so I'm not looking totally crazy. All right, y'all. See you back here next week. bit.ly/accelerate your ascent. That is the quick link for the for next week's challenge. I hope to see you there. We have a private community in the TCS Academy where I'm doing giveaways every day. Every day. But you got to be in the community to participate in the giveaway. So sign up today. Don't wait another second. Let's do this. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Share this video and let's make magic in the challenge next week. Bye, y'all. Bye. Yes, catch the replay, Dallas Organizer. Shoulder roll. Have a great work week. Bye, everybody. Okay, Facebook. You know you always get the last shoulder roll. See y'all next week. Bye.